Hi, it's Jack, and this is the podcast version of this episode. If you want to read the words as they're being analysed, then if you're on Spotify, you can become a subscriber of this channel or head over to the YouTube channel. And on both platforms, you can also sign up to get exclusive episodes and early access to the regular weekly episodes too.
I had nothing to do with it because I did not have anything to do with it, and I can say that 100 times and it doesn't be like, of course she's gonna say that, you know what I mean? Like, of course, but it is the truth.
When someone insists it is the truth, it's usually because they feel they have to convince you. 4 years after Katie Janness was killed, we're still waiting for justice. Her partner Emma Clark and those who knew Katie spoke publicly within days of the murder. The words they choose and the way they said them, could they be the key to understanding what happened? Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If you're new to this, what I do here is different from anywhere else. Every time I strip away everything, apart from the words that are said by the person at the centre of the story. And then I use my process of statement investigation to give you the key to seeing deception, possibly where the truth is, and the motivations of people as well. It's a process that I use with investigators, with the media, and with corporate clients to get a deep understanding of what is being said. So Katie was killed in Atlanta in 2021. She suffered a brutal stabbing, as did her dog. Right now, it's an unsolved murder. In the first episode, I looked at the 911 call that Katie's girlfriend Emma Clark made when she discovered her body in Piedmont Park. In this episode, I'm going to look at some other things that Emma said shortly after the murder and some other people in Katie's life as well, to see if we can get closer to understanding what did happen that night to Katie Janness. Let's go back first, though, to that 911 call.
Atlanta 911, operator 7959. What's the address to your emergency?
Sir, I'm at the entrance of Piedmont Park. I just was searching for my girlfriend's phone because I couldn't find her. She said she's here at Piedmont Park. Please help.
You said somebody's dead at Piedmont Park?
Yes, sir. Please send help. Please.
All right, yes, ma'am. I'm going to send help to you.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
All right, can I get your name, please?
Emma Clark.
You said, what was your name, ma'am?
Emma.
Emma?
Clark. Yes, sir.
All right, Miss Emma, may I get a callback number?
Oh, my God.
All right. I'm here, Miss Emma. Where's she at in the park?
She's like near the entrance, like, I don't know how to explain it to you. Did you just see that? That's my fucking girlfriend. What the fuck? Yes.
All right, hold.
Please, oh my God, dude, she's like, she's dead, like, it's so fun.
All right, I'm about to call Grady, okay?
Please.
And that is where Emma disconnected from the call. I made some observations on that call in the first episode, and I've had some really interesting comments on it as well. Like Bella says, just can be used as a minimizer or as an indication of time. I think she meant she had been looking for her just now and found her and called immediately. Yeah, just can be a minimizer, or in this case, it was, I just was searching. And it could be that she's saying that in time-wise, I just was searching. However, what interested me there was not so much the word just and me going, just means a lie. It was, why was she saying she was searching? Why was she not talking about what was wrong? Why did she lead with saying what she had been doing that led to this 911 call? Sharon Skegness says, I think several of the oh my gods, and there were 7 oh my gods in that call, I think several oh my gods were for the benefit of the approaching passerby. She probably seen him approaching. She may have seen the passerby, and that's the only reason she rang 911. She looked guilty if she didn't. She had been seen. That's a really interesting thought. Thank you for that one. DK says the number was redacted, and I did say, I wondered, Emma did not seem to give her number in response to being asked for her number. I did wonder if it had been redacted. And she also says she was searching for her girlfriend's phone. Now, I know that is what happened, that Emma could not find Katie, so she got on Find My Friends and tried to find her that way. But I had a listen. I hear an S there. I was just searching for my girlfriend, sir, or I just was searching for my girlfriend, sir, I think it is. There's an S there, which is not in phone, although that would make some logical sense. And Ellie says, I agree, her change of tone was very noticeable. I thought it was a bit startling even, and that is that change of tone between talking to the 911 call and sir and please, and then to the passerby who's obviously seen Katie's body as well, and it is a little bit more strident, certainly the tone. It was a very interesting shift there. Okay, let's look at some things that Emma has said in the aftermath of the murder. And the first one is a Facebook post that she posted. I'll read it word for word first. Today, I lost the love of my life and my baby boy. It was tragic. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble and beautiful person I have ever known. I wanted to spend every second with her. He was the sweetest, most loyal companion. My heart is so very broken. My world will never be the same. Thank you to everyone who has reached out. It is truly appreciated. So that's a post from Emma shortly, I think the day, obviously, from the timing that's stated there, of the murder or the day after the murder. So let's break that down and just look at it. Today, I lost the love of my life and my baby boy. It was tragic. So we've got some ordering there where she mentions the love of her life, which is Katie, and my baby boy, which is Bowie the dog. Katie comes first, Bowie comes second, exactly like you would expect it to be. So, you know, kind of spot on there, but always interesting just to look and check the theories there. We would expect someone to mention the person first, the animal second, and she gets that there. It was tragic, she says then. It was tragic. Is it no longer tragic at the point you're listening, you're writing this? She starts off by saying, today it happened. It was tragic. Is saying the tragedy is in the past, almost written there as if she's gotten over it. So why is that? Is it what happened to her and finding her girlfriend and her dog in that state? Is that what was tragic? But certainly the tragedy, in her words there, is in the past. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble and beautiful person I have ever known. And what we have here is maybe just a sense of Katie's values, of Emma's values. She puts intelligence, kindness and humility first, intelligence first, kindness second, humility there. So real characteristics of someone, and beautiful at the end. So this is obviously someone she connected with on much more than a surface level there. Again, nothing suspicious about that, just pointing out how we can learn more from the way that we order words. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble and beautiful person I have ever known. And then we've got something that interests me. I wanted to spend every second with her. So I wanted to spend every second with her says that she didn't spend every second with her, that she wanted to, but she didn't. Again, nothing suspicious in there, other than this is something she's chosen to mention, just on the back of mentioning all the good qualities. And this is obviously at a very emotional time. I wanted to spend every second with her. Is this just a tribute about what a great person Katie was and how every moment spent in her time was good? Or does it indicate there was a little bit of tension, that Emma wanted to see more of Katie and spend more time with Katie than she was? Or did she feel like she was sharing Katie with other people? Whatever that could mean, you could take it from something that is really a little bit dark through to just that she was maybe slightly jealous of Katie's friends or colleagues or something like that. But I wanted to spend every second with her. I've also pulled out there the phrase spend every second with her, because this is a theme that is going to run through people talking about Katie spending every second with her, spending time with her. And then he was the sweetest, most loyal companion. That's her talking about Bowie the dog, I believe. She says, my heart is so very broken. Now, this is in the present tense. So if it was tragic in the past tense at the beginning, she's still saying her heart is so very broken. So at the point of writing, her heart was so very broken. So very is a little bit convincing. It's not my heart is broken, which is just enough to say that your heart is broken. She wants to say how much her heart is broken. My world will never be the same. Now, my world will never be the same. Why did I pull out the word world there? Well, that again suggests the connection that she had with Katie and also maybe Bowie the dog as well, and the recognition that they were her world. And then she finishes off with something that is curious to me. She says, thank you to everyone who has reached out. So she's thanking everyone who has reached out. And then she says, it is truly appreciated. Now, she could have said there, thank you to everyone who has reached out. And that's talking about people. You are truly appreciated. But she says, it is truly appreciated. So what she is appreciating is the action of reaching out, not quite the people who have reached out, because it's only it is truly appreciated. So she does thank everyone, but then what, to me, she is less thankful or less appreciative of the people and more appreciative of the action. So once again, this gets me going, hey, we got some tension going on here between Emma and other people. Or is it just that Emma is not a very sociable person? And this is why she wanted to spend every second with Katie, like, alone and in a bubble and maybe not, talking to some other people versus all these people who have reached out. And she doesn't say, she's reciprocated in any way. It's just more, I appreciate the fact you've done that. So in that Facebook post that was posted by Emma, the use of it was tragic. That is concerning. Why was used rather than it is tragic here in the moment? What is she referring to when she does that? Does spend every second reveal that hidden tension there, that she wanted to spend more time with Katie than Katie would give her, and not appreciating the people who reached out, but appreciating the fact that they did reach out? Is she lonely or is she slightly isolated there? Again, none of this points directly to suspicion about Emma or Emma must have red flags going off around her. But I do think looking at these words, we can start to build a picture of what was going on. And we are building that picture. We will learn more when we hear Emma talk and give some interviews later on. I've got something else from Facebook now, and this is a post by Katie's mum. I think it's a comment actually under a post about Katie here. And there's some interesting things that we can learn from this about both Emma and who Katie was. Let's go through it. I'm Katie's mother in Beverly Hills, Missouri. Even though I am consumed with an indescribable anguish and constant physical pain, I want to thank you and the others who loved and cared for my girl. And you, Brantley, thank you for your gracious words of remembrance. So she here, in comparison to Emma thanking people for the action, she's thanking the people. Thank you for those who loved and cared for my girl. So she seems to be a lot more holistic about what she's thanking people for. Again, this is no shade on Emma that I'm putting here. This is just showing you the differences in the way that these two people spoke about it, and we'll see more of that as we go on. The mom continues, the abundant outpouring of generosity and kindness and sincere expressions of grief and sorrow means so much to me, not only because of the sheer number of you, but also because of the genuine and heartfelt angst and outrage you, her friends, her community, the people Katie loved and spent time with. So she's talking directly to people there, rather than that sort of indirect way that Emma said it is appreciated. She's thanking you, her friends, her community, the people Katie loved and spent time with. This is the second time that we have seen spending time with Katie as being something that is mentioned by those close to Katie. So again, I believe this is pointing us to the fact that Katie was a social animal who liked spending time with people. Emma, as we've seen from her post, maybe less of that social animal. She might be slightly more isolated, maybe slightly more introverted or happy within herself. And Katie maybe more extrovert and enjoyed spending time with people. So that's the people that Katie loved and spent time with. The people she would have eventually met and become friends with are reaching out to each other and in essence touching us, Emma, Katie, her sister and me. So we have the introduction of Emma here in the post, and you'll see that Emma comes first. She's a priority when Mum talks about the people who have been most affected by this tragedy. Emma, Katie, her sister and me. So Emma comes very much at the top of the bill there. And also she needs no introduction because it's not touching us, her girlfriend Emma or her partner Emma or anything like that. Emma needs no introduction and comes first in the ordering that the mum gives there. Then Mum says, did you know that Katie was flying to Metro Airport last night to stay with us for a 6-day visit? So we have more socialising here around Katie. She was coming to stay with us. So that is also spending time with us. So just once more, we have spending time as a concept around Katie. It seems that people really enjoyed spending time around Katie. Because of COVID, we haven't been together since Christmas of 2019. This was the first occasion I've been looking forward to in so long. Her sister Ronnie and I have missed her company. Once more, spending time with Katie. In this case, it's not spending time with Katie, and how not good that is. I've missed her company, and now instead of hugging her and laughing at her wit, we are in complete agony. I am so thankful that Katie and I talk frequently and texted many times during the week, mostly at bedtime. She is my rock, my soul, and I cannot fathom the intensity of her pain or shock in the park late Tuesday night. If I could, I would have taken this horrendous violence on myself without a second's hesitation. Emma called that morning as I was shopping for Sandra's chocolate for Katie's pillow. Emma gets mentioned again. She gets brought in very naturally to Katie's mum's story. Emma called this morning as I was shopping for Sandra's chocolate for Katie's pillow, a little joke we share. And for the gift bag I was assembling for Angie, her friend of 20 years up here. So once more, Katie is a social person. She has a friend of 20 years up there that she was going to see. In fact, Angie, she was Katie's escort. So again, spending time with Katie. Picking her up from the airport and bringing her home to us. Friday morning, we had scheduled a visit to see her dad's favourite uncle, now 95. Katie was excited to see us and to spend time with her friends here. Spend time once more. It's a word that comes up when people mention it about Katie all the time. Maybe that is part of what maybe that's part of what is adding to the tremendous anguish I am suffering. The fact that Katie, a being of incredible radiance, humour and intelligence, along with committed involvement in the environment, politics and respect for her fellow humans and fur-coloured neighbours. So once more, we have someone listing Katie's good points, her good qualities. And what do we see here? We have radiance first. Humour, intelligence gets mentioned again, so we're getting a real interesting picture of who Katie was, and that's obviously a very spiritual person because of the way she's spoken about, and a very intelligent, thoughtful person because that has come up twice now in descriptions of her. And she had respect for her fellow humans. So once again, Katie as the social animal here, and her fur-covered neighbours and friends in Atlanta. She was struck so violently and cruelly as incapacitated me to the core. That Katie was strong inside and out and felt every fibre of her being, that she was loved and cherished by Emma, her sister and me and so many others. So we have an ordering thing there again where Katie's mom puts Emma right at the front. Loved and cherished by Emma, her sister and me. So Emma, really high priority when Katie's mom was talking. So many others. And that Bowie was such a courageous night are the only slivers of light I can take away from this horrific attack on my baby's life. A treasure was stolen and we are grieving together, and I thank you, her friends and her community for the effusion of heartfelt solidarity and affection. Emma and I need to go down a long road of special counselling. So Emma first, I second. So, Emma really is high up in mom's priorities here, and in a good way, by the way. She is throwing no shade on Emma whatsoever, or the fact that Katie lived so far away with Emma or anything like that in this post. We need to go down a long road of special counselling to make it back from hell. We will not move on. So that's we. So she's joining herself with Emma there because she's mentioned the concept of Emma and I. Maybe other people will come into it as well, but she's showing unity there with Emma. And what I'm getting at here is, at this point, mom felt no suspicion towards Emma at all. And I say at this point, I don't know if mom shows any suspicion towards Emma now when some more stuff has come out. What I'm saying is, there certainly was no underlying tension she'd picked up on. There was nothing suggesting to her that she's not going to put Emma right first and foremost at the top of all these lists she's making and joining herself together with that we. But eventually we will move forward, holding Katie firmly in our hearts, with our love for us demanding we focus on the here and now, not the 28th of evil. Knowing you all have our backs is everything. So another joint pronoun there to talk about her and Emma. So thank you all. Know that we are tremendously grateful to every one of you who is spreading the gift of compassion and light, the authentic essence of Catherine, Lynette, Janness, Emma's, Ronnie's and my beloved soul. Another list with Emma at the front of it. I will be coming to Atlanta for her memorial in the south, as yet unscheduled. Perhaps I can hug some of you then in sorrow and in thanks to you all, from Bobby. So here, Katie's mom is fully into Emma. We can see also that Katie was a sociable person because we see so much of that sociability in how she was described. Does that lead to tension? with Emma, I don't know. And Katie spent time with a lot of people. The concept of spending time with Katie is mentioned by both Emma very soon after the murder and by Katie's mom as well. So Katie definitely was spending time with, seems like a large circle of people. So those are two Facebook posts. That's Emma talking and Katie's mom talking, and Katie's mom talks a lot about Emma. And when I was doing my research for this, I came across a curious article online, which I'm going to read you first, and then I'm going to dig into the words. So the article says, Janness has worked as a bartender for nearly a decade at Campanolo, an Italian restaurant bar on Piedmont Avenue, close to where her body was found. One of her regular customers told CBS that, and then it starts with quotes, she was a really sweet person, a little geeky. It's really shocking that something like this would happen to somebody who was such a sweet and just kind soul. She routinely walked her dog late at night because she typically worked the night shift. I think maybe she had a sense the park was safer than it is, especially now with everything that's going on. And I read that. Now, I say in the intro every time, I only look at the words, but my first thoughts were ones that were a little bit more around logic, which were, man, for a sort of regular at a restaurant bar, you sure know a hell of a lot about the bartender, including their routines and so on. That's unusual. And then I went, what is going on there? And I looked at some of the words and they got me interested about this person. It's introduced in the article, by the way, as one of her regular customers, so there's nothing about the sex of the customer at all. So let's dig into those words that the customer said. She was a very sweet person, a little geeky. It's really shocking that something like this would happen to somebody who was such a sweet and just kind soul. So she was a very sweet person. Very is I need to persuade us how sweet that person was, because it could just say she was a sweet person. It would have the exact same meaning as she was a very sweet person, but they're trying to persuade us as to how sweet they were. A little geeky. It's really shocking that something like this would happen. It's really shocking. Again, using a persuasive word. I'm really shocked. It's not just shocking. I'm really shocked that something like this would happen. Now, that's downplaying what has happened. It's softening the event. It's a brutal, brutal murder, and it's been downplayed by this person to something like this. If that person, if I was analysing words of a suspect accused directly of killing the person, if they used a phrase like something like this to describe it, I would be saying, why is that person downplaying what has been described? And this person is downplaying what is described. Shocking that something like this would happen to someone who was such a sweet and just kind soul. Soul is a very deep word for a regular customer in a bar to use to describe a bartender. This sounds to me not like a regular customer or here, but someone who knew Katie a hell of a lot better in the way they can describe the soul. Think about any bartender you've met very recently. Would you be able to describe their soul? If you were asked to describe them, would you be able to talk about their soul? I wouldn't. I'm not saying that it's, suspicious or anything like that. What I am saying is, was this really a regular customer, or is this someone who spent a lot of time with Katie and knew her a hell of a lot better? They then talk about this. She routinely walked her dog late at night because she typically worked the night shift. Now, that is all kinds of interesting. This person, as well as being a regular, knows what she does outside of her work. And that is she routinely walked her dog late at night because she typically worked the night shift. Those words mean that you have a hell of a lot of information if you know what she routinely did and when she typically worked. Again, is this a regular customer? Or is this someone who had a deeper relationship with Katie and knew a lot more about them? Also, I don't get the logic here. She walked her dog late at night because she typically worked the night shift. Just as easily could have said she walked her dog during the day because she typically walked the night shift. So the logic there is slightly off. It's as if it's giving a reason as to why Katie was walking the dog and why she was attacked at that time. I think maybe she had a sense the park was safer than it is, especially now with everything that's going on. And we have a mashup of tenses there from this person. So what we have is, I think maybe she had a sense the park was safer than it is. Now, was obviously refers to the time where we are thinking about the attack on Katie and when that happened. But is about right now. There is danger in the park right now. So is there an awareness that whatever was going on in that park is still happening? The danger is still there. That the person, obviously the person who did it is going free, but there would only be a danger in the park if that person habitually is around the park, if you know what I mean. Especially now, which again is about now. It's not about then. It's not about the time that Katie was attacked. It's about now. With everything that's going on, again, that's present. This what's going on. It's not with everything that went on. It's not saying, you know, she thought the park was safer than it was, especially with what happened. It's really interesting, but it suggests to me this mashup of tenses that this person talking believes there is danger in the park right now, that it exists even though Katie was murdered several days before that. So here, this person appears to have a deep understanding of Katie's character and also of her movements. And just the question for me is, what is going on now in the park? Right, we're going to go back to Emma soon, and we're going to see what she said shortly after Katie died. She talks about some of the things that led up to the 911 call that we heard at the beginning of this episode, and maybe answer some of the questions that we've had about what she said in that 911 call. Do you ever feel you are not being told the full story? Sometimes you might feel like you're getting it all, like Mom's comment on Facebook there from Katie's mom, but the friend, the regular in the bar, were we getting the full story from that person, or was there a lot more to it? And if you feel like you're getting that a lot, you're right. It's happening all the time, not just in murder cases. It happens in day-to-day life. But I'm here to give you the key to seeing deeper, because what I do is about helping us hear the world with new ears. And I'm on a mission to share this with as many people as possible. So if you want to unlock that secret, then subscribe to this channel or follow and just join in the movement. You can delve into the archives as well. There's a treasure trove of cases waiting to be explored, including a lot of 911 calls if you like listening to them. And do you know someone who needs this, someone who deserves to hear the truth? Then do hit the like button or share this with someone. Recommend it to others. Just pass on never a truer word. Because listen, every single click, every single share fuels the fire. It allows me to dig deeper, to analyse further, and bring this life-changing skill to more people. I regularly in the comments hear from grateful audience members who've navigated tricky life situations using the listening skills that they've learned on this channel. So your like, your recommendation, your share could help someone get that. It is a great gift to give. Now, we're going to go back to listening to Emma, and we're going to hear some of the interviews that she gave to American TV. As is American TV, we don't know the questions and things are cut very, very short, but we can still learn a lot from listening to things like this.
Of course, found her, and I initially didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't stick around.
Okay, very quick quote. It starts, of course found her, and I initially didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't stick around. So we have this, of course. Don't know the question that was asked. I don't even really know what was said before, of course. But of course found her. Why of course? Is it just because of a slight fame, or it's well known that she found her girlfriend's body? Is that part of the story? Is that why of course came there? Or of course is a convincing phrase. Of course I found her. Don't question the fact that I found her. There's nothing that's connecting the murder and me to the fact that I found her. It's just, of course I found her. And then she says, I initially didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't stick around. Now she's telling us what she didn't do here, didn't realize how bad it was, didn't stick around, which I'm always curious when people tell us what didn't happen, what they're not feeling, what they're not thinking, rather than what did happen, and what they were feeling at the time. But also, I didn't realize how bad it was contradicts that 911 call we heard where my girlfriend's dead. She's dead. There was no appeal for help. So if she didn't realize how bad it was, did she think that Katie could still be alive? In which case, why was she not on the 911 call going, please send help, please send an ambulance, please send paramedics, my girlfriend needs urgent help? None of that happened on the call. I didn't realize how bad it was. She said on the 911 call, she's dead. There could be one explanation for that, which is it was a brutal attack, and she may have realised that Katie was dead, just not everything that had happened to her. But she says, I didn't stick around. She doesn't tell us why. Maybe it was clipped off because, hey, American TV like cutting things down because they think we all have very low attention spans, and we don't on this channel. But here, Of course, found her, and I initially didn't realise how bad it was. I didn't stick around. So does this contradict the 911 call saying she's dead, because here she's saying, I didn't realise how bad it was? Is she storytelling like the 911 call because, you know, she's explaining not about Katie, but about her? I didn't realise how bad it was. I didn't stick around. So is there more storytelling going on here? She doesn't say why she didn't stick around. Maybe she went on to say it, but I want to know why she didn't stick around. You find your girlfriend dead and you don't stick around. There's got to be a reason for that. We'll hear her reason for that in a minute. And she tells us what she didn't do. What did she do? That's the sort of stuff that I'm interested in. We are going to listen to Emma talking later on about the last time that she saw Katie alive. Lots of interesting things in that as well. But let's go to another part of Emma talking about Katie and Katie's death.
I tried to feel for her pulse, but it was clear that she was already gone. And I turned around and I just ran out of the park because it was dark and I didn't know what was going on. I was terrified and shocked.
So we've got a bit more there on basically the same story. I tried to feel for a pulse, but it was clear that she was already gone. And I turned around and I just ran out of the park because it was dark and I didn't know what was going on. I was terrified and shocked. So let's break that down. I tried to feel for a pulse. Regulars might be going, hey, tried means you didn't succeed. So is she trying to say here, or trying to make it out as if she feel for a pulse? But this could just be very realistic. She tried to feel for a pulse and failed to feel the pulse. That's tried always implies some sort of failure. And I think here the failure could be to feel a pulse because there was no pulse. But it was clear she was already gone. Now, that is all very descriptive. It's all very believable, but it contradicts, I didn't realise how bad it was, which is what she said before, as I didn't realise how bad it was and I didn't stick around, is what she said in the prior clip that we heard. This is very different. I tried to feel for a pulse, but it was clear that she was already gone. It's contradictory. And I turned around and I just ran out of the park. Now, I turned around. If you try to feel for a pulse, you're going low down. So you stand up and run. Turned around is as if she was going somewhere and then exited very, very fast. You know, walked towards something, turned around and went away. So turned around doesn't fit for me. Those words don't fit for me with the action of trying to feel for a pulse. I just ran out of the park. We've got that word just. Did she do something else? I just ran out of the park because it was dark. Now, remember that phrase, it was dark. Dark is going to come up again. It was dark and I didn't know what was going on. That suggests an incident in the time that she was talking, not an incident in the past. I didn't know what was happening or I didn't know what had happened, would be talking about the past. What was going on? Now, look, there certainly is something going on in real time in Emma's version here because she's discovering that her dog and her girlfriend have both been stabbed. But I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what had happened. So going on is in the present there. I was terrified and shocked. Now, these things, terrified and shocked, didn't come into anything else we've heard. She doesn't tell the 911 person, I ran because I'm terrified. She doesn't tell the 911 person, it was really shocking. This is only coming through in later tellings of the story. This is why she says she ran. It was dark. I was terrified and shocked. Now, she doesn't quite say and expand on what it is that she was terrified and shocked of. I get logically, was there someone standing around waiting to stab her as well? That would be a really good reason for fleeing, but she doesn't quite expand on that. But she has decided in this version to tell us a little bit more, to tell us why she fled. But that word turned around and I just ran out the park. For me, there is something more has happened there that is denoted by the words there. She talks more about the park now.
But I do want everybody to pay attention and be safe around there. You know, I know a lot of people, we all go around there, we're out late, but now it's, you know, it's different.
So Emma says there, but I do want everybody to pay attention and be safe around there. You know, I know a lot of people, we all go around there, and we're out late. Then there's an edit, but now it's, it's different. Now, let's look at that word by word. But I want everybody to pay attention. Not to be safe. I don't want everybody. It's just pay attention, which suggests pay attention is heeding something, but it's not massively changing your behavior. It's just paying attention, and be safe around there. So this is suggesting, again, very much like the person, the regular in the restaurant bar where Katie worked, that they are talking about a danger in the park that is there, not just the danger that happened to Katie. This seems to be a more general danger that is ongoing. She says, I know a lot of people, we all go around there. So she's joining herself to the people who go to the park. I know a lot of people, we all go around there. Now, it's not just to the park. Is it a specific place in the park that she's talking about, around there? Maybe it is around the park, but this is interesting. And we're out late. So what she is saying here is that it seems to be very regular for people that she knows, and she is one of them, to go around there, potentially the part of the park where Katie was found, late at night. We're out late. You remember that the regular, who I feel was more of a friend than a regular customer of Katie, also spoke about being in the park late. So something here gets me around what was going on in the park. I don't think that people feel this was some sort of random attack, but that something maybe secretive was going on inside this park late at night, and therefore they feel that Katie's death could be connected to that. She says, now it's different. Different how? What has changed that has made things different? Has the danger not always been lurking there? Has it not always been possible that in a park late at night that someone may randomly attack someone? But now it's different. Different how? So I'm picking up from that regular and from Emma's words that there was a group of people that would go to this park regularly late at night for some reason, potentially not a reason they want to talk about publicly, but for some reason. And they feel this could be connected to the death of Katie. Now, you may be watching this and going, God, Emma's hiding something. There's something that doesn't add up about her words. Or you might be going, this is just the concerned words of the girlfriend of a murder victim. Well, Emma is suspected by many people, and we're going to hear her talk about that later on, about how she deals with the fact that people suspect that she is involved in the murder of her girlfriend. Let's hear some more from Emma.
She came by the restaurant. I saw her, said hi. She's like, walking the dog, and I'm going home.
So this is her talking about the last time that she saw Katie alive. She came by the restaurant, I saw her, said hi. She's like, walking the dog and I'm going home. Now this one here, she came by the restaurant, I saw her, is quite distant, because she and I, they're far away in that sentence, or that saying. She came by the restaurant, I saw her. Not came to see me, or we saw each other at the restaurant, which would show unity. There's a sense of just being apart in the words that she used here. She came by the restaurant, I saw her. Now, this doesn't make it sound in her words like Katie specifically came by the restaurant to see Emma. I think that, by the way, this is a different restaurant to the one that Katie worked in. I think they worked in different restaurants. Maybe it was the same one, I don't know. But she came by the restaurant. It's not, she came to see me at the restaurant. I saw her at the restaurant. It's like she came by the restaurant, and I saw her and said hi. She's like, walking the dog and I'm going home. Now, if you're with someone, and especially if they're in a routine, would they say, I'm walking the dog? And would it be taken for granted that afterwards they're going home? Because most people I know that walk dogs, they go home. Walking the dog and I'm going home. Why did she feel the need? Now, there was one or two things here. Why did Katie feel the need to say, I'm walking the dog and I'm going home, rather than doing something else? Or why does Emma feel that she needs to say that Katie's plan was walking the dog and then going home? Very curious type of words. Remember I said I felt was some distance between this couple? And by the way, there's distance between many couples, and it doesn't end in murder. So I'm not saying this distance is suspicious. I'm trying to get a picture of what could have happened to Katie. And there seems to be a little bit of distance here. She came by the restaurant, but not specifically to see me. In fact, I saw her, not I went to meet her or we met. I saw her and said hi. Is there some distance going on there? Now, we have the police involved in all of this as well, because obviously the police get involved in murders, and there are tensions between Emma and the police too, which we're going to look at soon.
So I could see Bowie clearly because he was in the middle of the road area, and that's lit. They have lights, but I didn't see Katie right away because it was darker. I was there. I saw her, and then I went over to see if she was still alive, and then I ran.
Thank goodness for American TV showing a longer edit where we can get into some of the things that Emma has talked about in depth there. This is her talking about finding the body again. I could see Bowie clearly because he was in the middle of, the road area, and that's lit. They have lights. But I didn't see Katie right away because it was darker. Now, we have that darkness come up there again. But I didn't see Katie right away. Does that just imply that if she looked hard enough, Katie would have been in her viewpoint, but she, it was dark and she wasn't looking. She saw the dog, and that was enough for her at that moment. Or is it that she knew exactly where Katie was? I didn't see Katie right away because all my focus was on the dog. Does right away show an awareness of where Katie was? Well, I guess it does show an awareness of Katie was, but is that post-awareness, as in now I know where she was, even though I could see in that direction, I didn't know she was there? Or is it more storytelling? We then have an edit, so the next bit doesn't flow on from there. Yeah, I was there, I saw her, and then I went over to, see if she was still alive, and then I ran. I was there. It interests me. It's all about Emma. It's not her talking about Katie. It's not, I saw her, I was there with her, I saw her body, I saw what had happened to her. It's, I was there. Really talking about herself here. I was there. For what? She doesn't say. I saw her, and then I went over to, see if she was still alive. So, and then is a jump in time. We use and then a lot when we're talking for brevity. I got up in the morning and then made a cup of coffee. I haven't talked about opening a door and going down the stairs and opening the kitchen door and switching on the coffee machine. I got up in the morning and then made a coffee. We'd use it to jump time all the time. So I saw her and then I went over, to see if she was still alive. There was a jump in time there. She is jumping over something. Is it brevity? Well, is this a situation you want to be brief in, or is it a situation you want to be detailed in? I went over to see if she's still alive. Not I went over to see if she's dead. Not I went over to see if she's okay. But I went over to see if she's still alive. That's a comparative term. What's she comparing it to? It will be when the last time that she saw Katie alive. And is that still alive from when she saw her at the restaurant? Or is that still alive got something else connected to it? It's an interesting choice of words. I went over to see if she's still alive. And then I ran. So once more, is she holding something back here, some knowledge of the situation? Again, it's clipped off here, and then I ran. Why? Why did you run? She wants some one thing. She says that it was because she was terrified, but she doesn't expand on that much in the other thing here. So once more, is she holding back something here? I feel like she has more knowledge of the situation than she is letting out. Listen, Emma is suspicious in many people's minds. How does she cope with that when she talks about being a suspect to people? But first of all, about her interactions with the police.
I mean, they haven't publicly said that. They took my phone from me that night, and they went to my apartment. They looked in my apartment and everything that night.
So this is her talking about the police, and I think the fact that she is saying the police haven't said she's a suspect, but it might be saying she is not formally cleared because the police are obviously very down the middle in these situations, shall we say. I mean, they haven't publicly said that. Now, what got me interested was they took my phone from me that night, and they went, and it's either to or through my apartment. Now, that is not the apartment of herself and Katie. You'll see it's not our apartment. It's my apartment. They looked at my apartment and everything that night. Interesting choice. We talked earlier about her saying she was going home. Katie was going home. But once more, Emma is talking about herself and herself only. They went through my apartment and they looked at my apartment that night. Let's hear some more from Emma.
I used it to pay off some debts. I used it to move. I have donated some of it. It's not been a lot. I didn't donate to the reward fund.
Okay, now this is something to be honest about. This is a GoFundMe or similar that was set up that Emma was the beneficiary of, and she's talking about how she spent the money. I have used it to pay off some debts. I used it to move. I have donated some of it. And then she says, it's not going to lie. I think she means to say, I'm not going to lie, but she says, it's not going to lie. I didn't donate to the reward fund. So this is one of the reasons why people look at Emma a little bit suspiciously, is that a lot of money was raised and she's used that money herself. She didn't give any of it to the reward fund to try and get more information about what happened to Katie. So she says, I used it to pay off some debts. I used it to move, and I have donated some of it. We've got ordering going on here again. So the first thing she mentions is pay off some debts. So that was the most important thing for her to do, was pay off some debts. Debts cause people stress, by the way. Again, was this something that was maybe causing some issues in her life? But I used it to pay off some debts. Number one thing she did. I used it to move. Number two things that she did. And then the last thing she mentions is donating. But it's very vague. I've donated some of it. So some of it, but, has she put, like $1 in a charity tin or something like that? That would be strictly, by definition, donating some of it. What exactly does that mean? And also, what exactly did you donate to? She doesn't say. I don't believe she donated very much of it. It's the third thing in her priority after she talks about that. But listen, I have no cause there to say she is lying. Now, this would be something that would be very, alluring to lie about, because this is one of the reasons people are suspicious around you. And she could have said, oh, people don't know what I did with the money. I donated lots of the money. I really, honestly, truly did. That would be me seeing lying there. But she's very straightforward. I used some of it to pay off some debts. I used it to move. I've donated some of it. And she says, it's not going to lie. I didn't donate to the reward fund. Again, this is very straightforward. She's telling us what didn't happen, which I don't like, but I didn't donate to the reward fund. Now, the bit before that, I'm not going to lie, is what I think she means to say. Quite often, it suggests to me there is a lie on the way, but only quite often, and it doesn't work quite as well if you're under pressure to tell the truth, which I think Emma is here. I'm not going to lie, and if she's not going to lie, and if this was a lie that came next, it's not a brilliant lie. It doesn't serve her in any way whatsoever, so I believe this as well. I didn't donate to the reward fund. Okay, let's hear some more about her talking about suspicions.
Did call my phone and leave me a voicemail. She called me a murderer, female dog, and then said that I would be caught. I'd like for them to come out and say that I had nothing to do with it, because I did not have anything to do with it. And I can say that 100 times, and it doesn't be like, of course she's gonna say that. You know what I mean? Like, of course. But it is the truth.
Okay, this for me is one of the biggest things that's going to help me get to my conclusions. They call my phone and leave a voicemail. This is her talking about the trolls. Then there's an edit. And she's obviously talking about a voicemail that's been left. She called me a murderer, female dog. Interesting, she censors the B word there. I don't know why I'm not saying it, but I'll censor myself. She censors the female dog word. But she called me a murderer. She doesn't downplay that. She doesn't soften it. She doesn't turn down what she is being accused of doing. She doesn't at all try to soften the severity. She comes out and uses a very brutal, direct word. Murderer. Guilty people will very often shy away from using those full-blown terms to talk about what they are accused of doing, and she uses murderer straightforward there, and she said that I would be caught. And then she gets involved in some logic. I would like for them to come out and say that I had nothing to do with it, because I did not have anything to do with it. And I can say that 100 times and it doesn't be like, of course she's going to say that. So twice she mentions this concept of not, I didn't kill Katie, but I had nothing to do with it. I did not have anything to do with it. Now that is a little bit interesting, because it's a little bit more removed. It's not I didn't kill Katie, it's I didn't have anything to do with it, which is much more suggestive of something wider. And is she aware that what happened to Katie is not just what happened through the results of one person's actions, but is it slightly bigger than that? Is that what she is alluding to there? But the logic is fantastic in this for me, okay? I had nothing to do with it because I did not have anything to do with it. Now, I'll take some points off for not taking the word down to its lowest form. So I did not have anything to do with it rather than I didn't have anything to do with it. Didn't is a little bit more casual and relaxed. Just like later on, she says, it doesn't. That's casual and relaxed. And she says, I did not have anything to do with it. Now, that's a little bit more formal. Often people use the formal sense of that to sound like they've got a little bit more gravitas, to sound a little bit more forceful, to sound as if they mean it. And that could be why she's using it here, because it's a very important thing, for a concept for her to get across. Or we hear it sometimes where people are a little bit more formal because they think that talking formally will convince people that, we did not do it. However, the logic there is the logic of a truthful person, because how do you prove a negative? How do you prove you didn't do something? I had nothing to do with it because I had nothing to do with it. What we don't get is storytelling from her, or, going into I did not have anything to do with it. I loved Katie. I would never do anything to harm her. She was my pride and joy. She's very straightforward and direct. I had nothing to do with it because I did not have anything to do with it. She says, you know what I mean? Like, of course, but it is the truth. And she, for formal again, she doesn't say it's the truth. She says it is the truth, but it is the truth is what she finishes on there. And that's, again, direct and straightforward. It's not, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not about what's not happening. It's about what is happening. And that is, it is the truth. So that part there, the logic, you think about a sports person that is accused of cheating by taking drugs. If you are a clean sports person, it's very hard to talk about the fact that you can't prove that you haven't taken drugs. You're proving a negative. It's really hard not to do. So they just tend to be, no, I don't take drugs. I don't take drugs because I don't take drugs. You can't really prove it. A cheating sportsman will be like that. I would never cheat. I would never take drugs. I've never tested positive for any drugs. You can ask anyone you know. I'm an amazing person. I'm a top athlete. I train really hard. And they go into all sorts of storytelling and verbal gymnastics to try and persuade and convince you that they didn't take drugs. Whereas this is a hell of a lot more straightforward. I had nothing to do with it because I did not have anything to do with it. So having listened to all of that and analysed the words, what green flags have I got around Emma? And Emma seems to be at the centre of this story. Well, look, she is not doing a lot of storytelling. And she's not doing a lot of resume statements to say what a great person she is. She's mostly straightforward and direct when she talks. We're not seeing a whole lot of explaining things away or trying to convince or persuade us that she had nothing to do with this, or the events on the night were the way that she said there was. And that's a huge green flag for me with Emma. Also, Katie's mom seems to see Emma as a stand-up person, and Katie's mom seemed to be very close to Katie and know a lot about what was going on in her life. So she didn't pick up any red flags before them. And that customer, or not customer, in the bar, their wording worried me. They seem to not just be a customer, but know Katie a lot more and seem to know a lot about Katie's life, especially around that park thing, which all says to me that there are many people's words around this that we may have some question marks on, not just Emma's. What are the red flags on Emma? There's the changing story around finding Katie. Each time she tells it from the 911 call on, it's not consistent. It does change. There is some distance I can see between Emma and Katie. I do think that maybe Katie's socialising was not making Emma happy. Also, did she go to the restaurant to see someone else or to see Katie? I felt there was some distance around them there. But I do feel that Emma is holding back information about that night and also about the park. What was going on in the park late at night? I'm interested in that no one seems to want to talk about. And why did she run? Why did she run from the park that night? And her telling of the story, that's not always consistent. And those are inconsistencies around this that make me think Emma knows a little bit more about what was happening. But does she have guilty knowledge? There are some suggestions of that, but for me, she is holding back information that could help us get to the bottom of this. Now, Emma has given an interview, which is a lot longer than the ones we've looked at. It was about, 8 months, 9 months after the murder, so she's had a bit more time to process it. So would you like me to dig deeper into that? These are some of the things that she says in that interview.
And if I get home and she's not there, I always call her, just be like, hey, what's your ETA, where you're at, whatever. And she didn't answer, and she always answers. So that's when I knew something was really wrong. I called her a bunch of times, she didn't answer. I texted her a bunch, she didn't. respond. So I pretty much knew immediately something wasn't right. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something had gone wrong.
Is there a desire for me to dig deeper into Emma Clark's words? I'll know from the amount of people that watch this episode. I'll know from the amount of likes, but also I'd love to hear from you. So in the comments, if you can, or on social media, do let me know. Should we dig deeper into Emma's words to see if we can get a better picture of what happened to Katie Janness? If you want to find it online, you can find neveratruerword.com. There you will find a whole load more podcasts and videos dealing with the words that the person at the centre of the story has used to look at the deception, the truth, and also the motivations of the person talking. That's neveratruerword.com. And we'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.